It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
Hello and welcome back to the Nace Star League for 2022 fall season. We're getting ready for some Counter-Strike and I am pumped to get things started. We've already been through the first week of games and we're headed straight into week 2. My name is Vincent and I am joined by the one, the only Birdie Box. How's it going, man?
It's going absolutely great, man. I mean, a college student myself, it's nice to be able to get onto the broadcast and see some of the action myself tonight, and honestly, just looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, we have an action-packed night. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic time as well. And, well, the good news is, if you were here last season, if you saw anything, it's going to be much the same. We got 2 best-of-3s prepped and ready to go, the first of which is a very exciting one indeed. We've got Michigan Tech going up against Kennesaw State University. 2 playoff teams, might I add, in our first matchup.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, we'll have CSM coming up against University of Mississippi. Almost a roster that last season, they couldn't quite hit playoffs, but they had a really good roster to work with, and so, especially coming off the back of the first couple games, looking to improve and head further than the last time around.
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of how they are able to do it, but, well, there's been some changes. Right now, we're headed straight into the regular season. That'll be straight towards the conference play-ins, and those are pretty similar to what we've been seeing before, and then the conference championships. All of that leading in, if you're not able to get there, it's going to be the LCQ for you. If you made it out on top, playoffs. That's where 16 teams are going to be able to duke it out, headed toward those grand finals. Oh my goodness, there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah, but for now, we're in the regular season. That'll end on October 21st, and so plenty of regular season matches to look forward to before we get to those playoff markers, and I guess plenty of matches in the process that'll set up for that moment in time. Plenty of opportunities for the teams that we'll be seeing, especially tonight, to make the cases for that process.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and, well, I'm excited for in-person grand finals as well. That's something that, I mean, ever since I started working with Nace just 2 years ago, I've been pumped for, and I'm absolutely excited to see how that goes and everything that kind of goes alongside that. The other side of that is, well, scholarships, pricing. We're not playing for nothing. This is huge, $2,500 for first place in scholarship money. It's $1,250 for second, and then third and fourth. No, it doesn't say that on there, but there's going to be $625 as well. And, I mean, essentially, tons of cash is up and on the line. I'm loving what we're seeing. And, well, that is all made possible by our amazing sponsors. And here at the Nace Star League, we want to thank all of our sponsors, including Extra Life, where you can head over to extralife.org for more information on how you can help change the future with games. It's going to be very interesting. Check them out, like I said, extralife.org, to check out everything that they have going over there. But Birdie Box, I mean, CSGO. I'm so excited to get started. This is the final day of our very busy week here, first week of the season, and I think that this is going to be fun. Like I said, 2 playoff teams starting out here on our first streamed match. I feel like we could not have asked for better.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, Kennesaw State's a roster that I've had run-ins with in the past. I mean, I'm familiar with a lot of those players, and we can actually start to take a look at those in just a few moments. Week 2, I mean, MTU, right? A roster Lord of Pies, Amor, Choud, Solace, and Retina. A lot of the names on that roster are very common. I believe, let me just check real quick. Yeah, a lot of those players have been around for a long time. You know what I mean? KSU, a lot of the same stuff too. Seb, Nitsuo Austin, if you will, Ludicity, Abner, Gun, also a player I'm familiar with. I mean, there's plenty of names in the server to be combating with tonight, and honestly, I just can't wait for them to go together.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see kind of how this MTU roster shapes up. They are still 3 strong from last season, and Kennesaw State sticking with 4 out of their 5 players, but they have a little bit of an interesting situation with some of their subs that we'll get into just a little bit later, but I want to dive just a little bit deeper about the starting place that we're at for these 2 teams, because Michigan Tech, man, they dominated in their opening matchup. That was against Ashland, and, well, it was a 2-0, but not just a 2-0. They 16-1 Ashland on Inferno. Now, in fairness, we aren't going to be going to Inferno here, but that was impressive to say the least. And I think that when you kind of go up against the fact that, unfortunately, Kennesaw State, they got beat on their first series of this season, 2-0 as well against a team in Northeastern that I don't think that they probably should have been losing to. It's a little bit scary.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of sets up Kennesaw for almost a comeback pathing right off the bat of the season. I don't think they're going to be too concerned, but this is really the matchup that's going to be the comparison point. I'm heading into, I guess, not only the rest of the season, but heading into maybe even playoffs, right? If these are playoff contending teams, this is really the match that you want to set yourself into as the victor moving forward.
That's exactly right. And, well, you're seeing a little bit older version of Vertigo, but still, Vertigo. That's going to be our first matchup for today, and it's quite interesting that we're heading to Vertigo. You were a little bit surprised, Birdie, and I'll get to I'll let you get to why you were surprised in a moment, but we are headed to Overpass after that. That'll be the second map. Michigan Tech picked that one out, and that was the first map that they were able to win over Ashland in their first series of the season, and then Dust 2, should it be necessary, will be our decider. But you were a little bit surprised to see Vertigo being picked up, Birdie.
Mostly, I was more surprised to see this combination of maps, because when it comes to Counter-Strike, you usually have very specific styles as your team. You like the Hug Gear maps, you know, your Dust 2s, your Mirages, your Infernos, but we've got a really weird mix here. We've got Vertigo Overpass, maps where I would say if you're not really confident on, you usually just get blown out of the water. There's usually not very many inroads there to just kind of make room for yourself, go for a Hug Gear style, and kind of come out on top. But Dust 2 is that map where it could go either way, and so because we have these 2 teams picking Vertigo and Overpass respectively, I mean, if we end up seeing those map picks going for the respective sides, Dust 2 could go either way. We could see like an extremely back and forth best of 3 here.
We absolutely could, but gotta get the context here. Dust 2, that was the tilter for this Kennesaw State roster. They lost that one in a nail-biting 16-14 fashion when we in week 1 against that Northeastern team, and so I do think that does bear some question marks, right? I mean, and Seb was playing out of his mind. He had 36 frags in that 16-14 game. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to bring them over the edge. So if we do get to Dust 2, I think there is some questions about this Kennesaw State roster and how they're going to be performing. But all that being said, there was a bit of a different look at this roster. I think it was JMO who was in instead of Gunn, who we saw on the roster graphic is going to be in. And, well, Brady, you actually had the chance to play with Gunn for a little bit. Yeah. What should we be looking at? Is this a player to watch out for?
So, I mean, I'll be honest, it's been a long time since I've been with him in the server, but from my time with him, you know, a player with lots of potential at the time, very focused on what he was doing, very responsive to calls, communication, always like looking to learn, and definitely one of the better fraggers on the roster. And so, I mean, we looked into the previous seasons, right? Coming into this, we saw that he hasn't been on ESCN well, as an example, but coming into this, I mean, if he carries off any of the kind of statistics, the impact that he had at the tail end of his performances in those ESCA leagues, then we could see some great performances coming into this.
Definitely. So, from my perspective and what I'm hearing from you, maybe, I mean, upgrade probably the wrong word, but definitely some experience coming in to this one. As much as we love to see JMO in the server, definitely saw a little bit more experience with Gun Wounds, who you can see on the left side of the screen right now. And looks like we are just about ready to get things started with Kennesaw State going up against the Michigan Tech Huskies. And honestly, ones to watch, it's got to be Retina and Seb. Those are absolutely the 2, and if we had to pick another, it's probably Gun Wounds, right?
We can go with that. Honestly, I'm totally down for that. I would say an unknown factor because of how little we've seen in the recent history, but definitely something to see, like the X factor for sure. But you know, Kennesaw State heading into this pistol right now, ready to go, is look to shift towards this A bomb site. MTU, I mean, they're hearing all of this.
Yeah, stomping around, lots of noise being made, and you can see rotations being called over as well. Considering all of that, push, it's coming through, but as we were mentioning, the rotations are in. But Nitsua, great start. Gunwounds is going to be able to pick up the additional frag. Retina is the only one able to bring things back to something more reasonable at Flashbang to allow Ludicity information, and he's able to get out. How is he seeing him? Retina taking down a headshot in, and suddenly MTU are in a bit of a tough spot.
The spot indeed is Ludicity. It's just another 2 beautiful one-taps of the P250, 3 for the round to bring Kennesaw on top of the pistol, and I mean, absolutely great work there coming up from that man. And let's be honest here, right? Pistol rounds on Vertigo, they can be really hectic. I'm not really too concerned whatsoever. If you work your way up to the A site, you find those early entries, in the way that Kennesaw did, you find yourself in control of the bomb sites, so those retakes can be almost impossible. So MTU, they'll go for the save here. A couple pistols up towards mid, try to find some rifles, but really not much other than that.
Certainly not a whole lot. MTU. Ooh, but they've found a very far forward angle, and they've even found Nitsua, who was kind of sitting there hoping for some free frags. Nothing free. Not here. Not now. Gunwounds and Amneris, though, have made this at least pretty darn solid. Though Seb does fall in the meantime.
Yeah, two rifles out of the hands of this T side isn't going to be... They'll take it. You know what I mean? There's not really much to complain about for sure. As Gunwounds cleans up that last kill. 3 for the round in his pocket. And heading into this next round, this is really where MTU, they're going to look to try to force back into this. This is the key pivotal moment for them, because if you're looking inside of Kennesaw State, this is really the next opportunity for them to be able to kind of pull the economy of Kennesaw State back into reach where they can somewhat control it. If MTU lose out in this round, and they lose out on a significant margin in the players, then we could see Kennesaw State start to build momentum that MTU can't recover from.
Momentum. I'm glad you mentioned that word, because it's something that I always talk about on this map in particular. I feel like this is incredibly momentum-based, both on the CT side and the T side. You know, yes, it's CT side, generally speaking, but if you start that momentum rolling, you can be doing very well for yourself. But Retina doing well, and Amor are going to add down the additional fragging power to set things up. We're looking at a very solid start to the first gun round of the Huskies.
2v5 here. Kennesaw State, they've not ended up in the right end of this early start to the round. There's a minute left in the clock, and it's going to have to be said in Ludicity to try to pull this back, but there's just so many counter-terrorists waiting on this bomb site. 3 of them within arm's reach, but the bomb, it's in the hands of Ludicity, and so maybe some openings ready to be found, but I imagine the trades will be coming through shortly afterwards.
You would have to assume so. Kennesaw State playing very passive here, hoping that MTU would give them any sort of free re-engagements, any free fights, but those were not to be found. And so Michigan going to pick up their first round of the CT side. They got plenty of money right behind it as well, but Kennesaw not so lucky.
Not so lucky, and that has brought their economy down to this point. They'll invest back into it. A Galil for Nitsua, Deagle for Seb. Everyone else has found themselves AK-47s, but not much utility to float around on the Kennesaw State side as MTU. They've got everything to work with here. A couple of bits of money left over, but this is Kennesaw State gamble that they can pull this round back and break the economy of this CT side. Not really much openings here. Both sides just kind of waiting back. As I mean, traditional A-ramp control being fought for by the CT side, and Kennesaw State starting to rotate back up towards the B bomb site. Amor's ready and waiting. The question is, how soon will he find contact?
Looks like right now, that's the answer. Ludicity and Nitsua both looking to try and find entries over towards B, but Amor has stood tall. He's defended against 2 and a third to follow up.
So
Amor is just so strong in this position.
Yeah, just those kills over the top of the smoke there, you can't really complain about any of those. 3 clean 1v1s, takes all the players straight out of the server, and I mean, that leaves Avnerisk in this situation he's in currently. I mean, yeah, he's got the AK in hand where the player's able to make that investment, but all of a sudden, I mean, behind the rest of his teammates, unable to make it work as Amor finds himself the 4th, and MTU tie up the scoreline 2-2.
Wow. Quick and fast, MTU have just answered this call, and they put themselves in a good position. Just a reminder, this is KSU's map pick. Kennesaw picked Vertigo, and, well, that's why they're starting on the T side, but we'll have to see how that continues, as it's a full save this time. Kennesaw were very, very poor with regards to their economy moving into that last round.
What?
But oh my goodness, Glocks, they nearly find it. Retina is the one to bail out the Huskies. He's even coming back to look for more, and Nitsua gets away with another 3 frags with the Glocks. Are you kidding me?
Part of me wants to say that, you know, MCU, with the amount of money they have, they can get away with it, but I mean, if you're Kennesaw State, you're more than happy with that outcome. I mean, short of a round win, that's the best outcome you could have expected to come out of just the Glocks running up towards a ramp that no utility to speak of, nothing to force them into those gunfights. The CTs just kind of swung the Glocks and lost out on those gunfights, and heading into this gun round, maybe we can see that kind of economic role reversal.
Potentially. Oh, but Childs, he's made the move. He's picked up the frag, and Kennesaw State, now you have to fight from behind. But Nitsua, he's certainly done the fighting. He's fought back hard, and it's an equalizer. 4-on-4 now, and actually, Lord of Pies, he's been spotted. They know he's here. They are aware, and this is a great angle from Nitsua in order to play defense. The nade is going to land on his head, but Lord of Pies still alive and kicking, and he's got some help. Childs, there's no flash for him, but he could come try to swing from that angle. And there's a molly. Surely Gunwounds is going to throw that out at some point, but oh no, it's been. I did not realize it had been.
It was molly before. They ended up getting the smoke on there, but Lord of Pie is trying to force a gunfight before he got trapped once again. Ends up costing his life. Gunwounds finding a kill elsewhere, and all of a sudden this A bomb site's open for the taking. Child's looking to maybe be retreating. His teammates not really considering this retake. We might see Kennesaw State with a round here.
Very much looking possible. Seb's going to put the numbers in, plant that bomb down. And Child's not wanting to give away his position. It's going to be the smoke here for, well, depending on where he goes, it could have been right or left. It looks like he's gone for right. Or sorry, excuse me, left. I can't speak directions, but ooh, long range, Child's. Oh, the connection and the AWP.
Small
a little longer in his hands.
No smoke to defuse that Molotov, and instead Child's going to be caught in front of it, cost him his life, and Amor now just ready, sitting in the back lines of Yellow Wall. He's going to grab Gunwounds, trying to get out of the bomb site, but the bomb's going to explode, and I'm surprised, actually, Nitsua doesn't end up going down along with it, but this is Vertigo, Vincent. Bomb radius can be extremely small, and it can be really easy just to disappear out of the bomb site. But MTU, I mean, once again, just like we saw in the pist round, the early entries found towards A. Once we saw the kills come through, the bomb go down, there was just not really a way to get back into the round.
Yeah, really solid work being done there overall, and I think that the other thing to note is that the Huskies just kind of got caught out with some of their aggression. But speaking of aggression, turned up to 11. Seb with the entry. Lord of Pies had no idea what hit him. The AWP for Retina. He's got to try and save it. He's connected that first one. There's a player here, and Retina is continuing to find success. Nitsua gun not in his hands. And Seb, the opener, is left alone with Ludicity as the final 2 alive. At the very least, Seb has brought this back to at least a more reasonable stead. But there's a flank coming. And I don't think they know.
A little bit more room to work with off of that kill. The utility on the bomb site still present to allow this bomb to start to come through. A smoke will provide Ludicity cover to put it down if he wants it, but this AWP is still trouble lurking towards the balcony, and Amor caught off on the flank. All of a sudden, 2v2, everything is possible. The sightline still obstructed. Retina, though, this kill needs to be the first one to find this opening.
Seb is playing so passively. There's no utility from the Huskies in order to get Seb out of this position, but at 19 health,
dirty.
It's going to be difficult. Ludicity certainly is dirty. The no-scope from Retina. He's on for the quad. The same for Seb. The 2-star players playing against one another. Oh, no. And Seb, he's just nasty with it. Seb on Vertigo is a terrifying sight to behold, and Kennesaw State are putting it on display.
Claw themselves back into the lead as a result. MTU, I mean, that was everything. The AWP bought into that round, and having lost all of it down to $2,000 apiece, forced back onto the pistols. Kennesaw granted another chance to extend their lead, and with the way they're taking presence over towards A, I mean, it looks pretty scary. I don't think MTU have been able to kind of establish control and maintain it with an opening duel at all.
Yeah, and I think, gun wounds was a question mark, especially against this full advanced roster in the Huskies. I mean, yes, in fairness, Lucky Andre is only the sub for that team, or has only been the sub in this season, but otherwise, a full roster here. It was a question of whether Gun Wounds would be able to stack up, considering the time it's been since his last foray into competitive play. I think that clearly he has been stacking up very well.
Yeah, doing great, but obviously, early stages of this best of 3, Vincent. There's plenty more rounds to come and plenty more. Slight there. I was wondering maybe Florida Pies could have capitalized off of that, but no. 4 Rifles stay alive. Kennesaw put themselves up to 5th, but yeah, for sure. As I was talking about though, plenty more opportunities for either team to kind of regain control. And sure, we're seeing Gunwood's 8 and 5 right now, but we've seen a lot of ecos coming out from MTU, and I think it was one of the kills that got a kill, one of the players that got a kill with the Glock earlier on in that eco round. So. Just plenty more to come.
Listen, you get a kill with a Glock, it's worth so much more, but you know what else is worth a lot? Taking that frag, the AWP down for Kennesaw State, and interesting that Nitsua, the one to pick that one up. Typically, you're going to see that on the back of Seb at times, maybe Avnerisk as well, depending on the timing. Nitsua must have had a spawn. He got out in front of the molly, but it just wasn't quite enough, and a more on the off angle. I mean, really not an off angle, actually, but just not anticipated by Avnerisk.
But he's been so good at grabbing his opening duels over towards B. I don't think he's yet to... Actually, I don't think he's yet to die in the bomb site. Let's start there, but he's gotten multi-kills this entire game so far. It's really what's been pushing Kennesaw State over towards the A bomb site as we see them do it again, but this time around, MTU, they've got aggressive positions, and Lord of Pies finds himself a kill. Only Ludicity left. They're caught between too many angles. He gets caught off guard, and MTU respond with a 4th.
Quick and easy for Michigan Tech, and it's off the back of so much good work done by Amor. I mean, I talked about Retina, right, as the man to watch. He really is dominant. In that game against Ashland, that first map, he went 34-11. 34-11. But it has been Amor to be the difference maker here for the Huskies, and Retina is going to join him. Amor and Retina, a dynamic duo, holding, defending here on the B site is magical. Great work being done. 3 players down, and Kennesaw State working from behind.
Yeah, but they found themselves 3 players down at the very early stage of this round. Miranda finally going down, AWP out of commission. That smoke's going to deny them entry, funneling them towards the elbow and Amor. Granted opportunity to get some kills, but instead, Andre's found one through the side of the smoke, and Nitsua all alone. I don't imagine he'll be able to find anything off the back, because it would take somewhat of a miracle. And these are hard shots to hit, especially with the crossfires established, but, I mean, we'll give him the chance.
Nitsua, good for a clutch or 2, I have definitely seen, but... All right. I guess, well, you can't have the kill, Michigan. I'll be leaving with dignity, says Nitsua.
Interesting note though, right? So Kennesaw State's decision there to rush the B bomb site off of spawn. I'm curious as to what led them to believe that was the call they should have made, because they haven't. But we established they haven't been winning the gunfights over towards the B bomb site. Maybe they thought accelerating the pace was going to help them out. Maybe they didn't have a full gun round to force their way out. But
Amor has been relatively solo over there.
That's fair.
And well, that last round, unfortunately for Kennesaw, that was the round that Retina was there with him. So maybe that was the idea. I mean,
could be.
Just a thought.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just more or less surprised that like there wasn't really a lot of effort behind it. It seemed like they didn't use the utility to get themselves out of the ramp. It just seemed like they fell flat off the start of the round, which is usually not what happens on a B rush. You tend to see a little more back and forth the trades, some spams from the wall. I mean, Kennesaw State in a situation like this, I mean, they're just waiting out the round as the rifles push up. And more, he's gone aggressive this time around.
Well, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No.
And Amor, he has been unstoppable. So I guess if they aren't there, just push W. Find the kills that they will not give you. Oh, and that nade.
1 HP.
Nice shot by Ludicity, but ultimately, yeah, 1 HP. That's all that is there, and well, that is so fast. MTU entirely surrounding Ludicity in seconds and dispatching him 6-5. A very back and forth first half.
Indeed, but we see the rifles coming out to play once again this time around. I'm hoping they're going to try to experiment a little bit more than just the B bomb site and ramp. Mid control has been actually somewhat open. We saw Gun Wounds a couple rounds ago getting an entry. Unfortunately, traded immediately as the rest of his team tried to work on just the B bomb site. But ramp control on the cards again. Lord of Pie is going aggressive towards Yellow, finding an early entry and looking for more through the side of the smoke. But Kennesaw State, they backed off.
That they have, sort of forced to, in all fairness. And Seb, well, we don't call him the king of B for nothing, but he's going to have to deal with the Moore. Oh, such a difficult shot to hit. Moore goes down. He's going to get traded, though.
3v3.
And Seb,
they don't have the bomb.
Good check, but yeah, the bomb, it's missing. Kennesaw State, they've just now noticed. And it's going to be allowing so much time for MTU to rotate in, but Gun Wounds, he's in a corner. And he's cornered. Nice shots there from Abnerus, trading him out, and Abnerus there for a triple kill.
Those are the kills, unfortunately. I mean, okay, Retina, with your AWP in that situation, those are the kills you kind of want to look for in that situation. That's on a map like Vertigo, that's what the AWP is really good for. It's not just for holding the singles, it's also to get back into a position, you take a shot and disappear. And, I mean, I'm not going to say you should have won that because you can't say that for anyone, but definitely could have put MTU back into the lead there, and it puts them on the brink of destruction once again. I mean, Kennesaw, they are able to pull through, but another raid rush coming through. Childs has gone aggressive. 3 kills, light of blue on the scoreboard, and Kennesaw immediately locked out of the round.
Yeah, MTU at one point struggling with some of that A aggression, struggling with some of those areas. Now, no struggles, no nothing. Childs so dominant in that area, making it look easy.
Making it look easy, man. And I'll be honest here, MTU finding 7 rounds here, it's great. But the CT side can be a very back and forth affair. And heading into this next half, I mean, this is a scoreline I think Kennesaw State will be more or less satisfied with. So despite the fact that they have Deagles in a situation like this, heading to this next round, if they're able to pull through and bring it up to a 7th, it's about as good as either teams could have really wanted.
MTU poised. Here's Seb. The area we've seen him be probably the most deadly of any place is that B ramp area. You don't know the legend, Birdie, but
oh yeah,
last couple of seasons he has been a menace when it comes to entering into this B site. But is it going to be the same here? Just Glocks, and he's lined them up, all 3. Lucky Andre has been slow to start, but he hasn't been required. He steps up when necessary, and the newbie is able to take 3 down.
You can't complain about a nice little triple like that. A1S, let's talk about the for a moment, Vincent. I mean, we saw that A1S nerf happen a while back, and it's interesting to see that we still see players using it. It's still so effective despite the fact that, I mean, on a map like Vertigo, you see a lot of spraying through smokes, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily true for the B bomb site.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it's a little hard to line those timings up at times, but... Ooh, nice nade. See that one? Abner-esque.
That one will hurt.
I think that's actually a photo of Abner, by the way.
Really?
In his profile. It might be. I might be confusing people. I feel so bad if I'm wrong, but...
Last round of the half, though. The B split coming through. Retina connects with 1. Must-win kill. That stops the entry, but Gunwins responds. Fully blind. Takes the header to clean off AWP out of play and swinging back through to drop the second. B bomb side opened up. The bomb looking to be planted. Lucky Andre able to find the response, but 2v3 situation presenting itself in the post play. And MTU, they're down out of positions.
That they are, but still very winnable, especially with the utility. There's 2 mollies, one of which has already gone out, and that's going to force Gun Wounds to take this fight. But Gun Wounds hits the shot anyway, and he gets the second as well. 2 headshots to close the half, and 8-7. That is pretty darn good. Back and forth as it was in Michigan Tech. They had some strong moments, but Kennesaw State, I think they can be happy with 7 rounds on T. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, especially if you can have gun wounds in this current form heading into the CT side, I don't think you're going to be worried about whatever bomb site this man is playing on.
Yeah, and with all like the question marks around this Kennesaw State roster with Slight and Gonzo, who's going to be taking the reins and who's going to be stepping in? Well, Gunwood's being able